Fantastic. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen then and just welcome again. We are going to be talking about for the next hour Summer Internship Program, and we are really excited to be able to share this opportunity with you. So, as I mentioned, I am Natalie Harrington. I have the pleasure of serving as the Director of Student Learning and Career Development here at Tri-C, and my wonderful co-host Beth. I'll let her introduce herself.
Yeah, hey everybody, my name is Beth Johnson. I am the Career Services Specialist over here at Eastern Campus. I'm also helping out to fill in right now at Western Campus on Tuesdays, so you can come see me there as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we are happy to be here with you. And so we just wanted to kind of back up before we start talking about summer internship program as a whole and really talk about what a summer or what an internship is just in general and how that can be valuable to you. So in general, an internship is really this opportunity for you to be able to work with a company and use the skills that you've been building in the classroom in this real life process to be able to get the hands-on experience and feel it. I said a little earlier, I am a hands-on learner. So I can read about something on a screen, I can talk to somebody that does it, but until you feel it and get to use those skills every day, it's a different experience, it's a different level of understanding. So for the student, it's a really great opportunity for you to develop relationships with professionals. That is something that is so critical, and you don't necessarily think about it at this point in your career experience. You know, you're really focused on education, but networking and building those relationships is so valuable. I like to share that I have been in this role a little over a year and a half, and I'm in this role because about 7 years ago, I did an informational interview with the person that's now my boss, who is one of the vice presidents here at Tri-C, and it's because I made a network connection. It planted a seed, it was able to grow, I was able to stay in contact with them, and that's the same thing for you. You build these network connections through an internship that if you continue, you just never know how valuable that's going to be for you. And then for the employer side, they really have this opportunity to do a long-term test run for you. So, you think about an interview with an employer, it's just a short amount of time, but for an internship, they are able to see everything about you. It's on a daily basis. You're able to show them the wealth and value of your skills and experience and really lend that to them so that then they can go, wonder if there would be an opportunity for you here afterwards. And so we love to see more fruitful things come out of an internship than that limited amount of time. And that really does happen on a regular basis. Not always. That's why we have sometimes on the screen, but that's a great conversation for you to have with your employer to say, I am enjoying this so much. This is what I'm learning. What is there an opportunity afterwards for me to maybe move into a more permanent role? So we love an internship for those reasons.
Yeah, and along that same vein, thank you, Natalie.
Mhm.
We, want to kind of put into layman's term, what are some of the benefits of completing an internship? So this gives you an opportunity to graduate with professional experience in your field and be able to add that to your resume. So when you're applying for your entry-level positions after you graduate, you're going to have that experience already built into, your profile, your resume, who you are as a professional, and be able to talk about that experience, which will put you ahead of, other applicants who may not have completed an internship and maybe don't have any experience. So you're going to be able to walk in with some of those skills already developed. So both technical skills, right? The things that you are going to be able to do hands-on, but also other professional skills like critical thinking, verbal and written communication, and leadership skills that you develop over time. You'll be able to gain hands-on experience of skills and knowledge from your coursework. So you'll be taking what you learn from the classroom and applying it directly to this experience to your internship. You'll be able to connect with those professionals in the industry. Like Natalie said, you're going to be able to add to your network, which will be really useful for the future. And I think sometimes it's hard to see how valuable that can be. But like Natalie mentioned, she, built her network and was able to end up getting a job because of it. So this is a great way for you to begin that process and that journey. You'll be able to explore opportunities you didn't even know existed. So one of the big things that I learned when I did my internship is, oh my gosh, I didn't even know all of these organizations existed that focus on the things that I love. Or, oh, I didn't even know that was a kind of work that I was doing or that was available to do. You can't know what you don't know. And so until you're out there, sometimes you're not really sure exactly what you want to do. And so this can really help you with that. And so you'll be able to learn what you like to do and then also maybe what you don't like to do. As career professionals, we hate to see it when students, get all the way through a program, get into a job, they land, what they feel like is a good job, and then they get into it and they're like, oh my gosh, I just spent all this money and all this time going through this program to get this degree or this certification, and I really don't like this. And so this can give you an opportunity to kind of meet that up front and figure out what you don't like to do as well as what you do like to do. So you can kind of see, all right, I'm in this business degree, focus on this specific thing. Maybe this other part of this business degree is more up my alley. I'm still going to be able to graduate in the same amount of time, you know, really dodged a bullet there.
Mhm.
And then, that kind of folds into kind of building your education to career path. So some of you may know for sure you want to go on to a 4-year institution. Some of you aren't really sure what you want to do, and that's okay. You may get into an internship and learn about something that's happening down the hall, again, that you didn't know existed, and be able to say, like, oh, I wasn't really thinking about going to a 4-year institution, but I see what they're doing, and I see that, a bachelor's degree could really help me. Or you may see, the opposite. It may validate everything that you've been doing along the way. And so you'll be able to kind of reassess what your education looks like and kind of lay that path towards where you want to be in your career.
Awesome. Thanks, Beth. And so we have opportunities for internships throughout the year, through each semester and term, but summer internship is very unique. So this is a program that is now in its 8th consecutive year. It is tried and true. We know that students truly enjoy it. Employers absolutely love having students, and it really creates an opportunity for all majors. So you are welcome no matter if you are in a certificate or you are in an associate's degree to participate in this program. It's really nice because it opens up to all domestic and international students. If you are an international student, as long as you have an F1 visa, you are able to participate and you qualify to do the work on campus that meets your criteria for being able to have that employment opportunity. So we love that it really helps. And we just got a great update this morning that we jumped from 170 to 175 opportunities for you to apply to, which is a lot of opportunity. And so we want you to really take the time to look through those, think about how do you want to develop your skills? What is going to be a good opportunity for me to apply to? And we'll talk about how you use Handshake to do that here in a little while to really dive into that. But we have got opportunities for you no matter where you are on that career spectrum. So it's very exciting.
All right, and now the exciting part. So what else do you get out of it? So we were talking about a lot of intangible things that you get out of it, but what are the tangible things that you get out of it? So what are your benefits? What is the pay, right? And so we're really excited to announce that we are able to pay $13.75 an hour. That is a $1.75 increase from what we paid last year. And so we're really excited to be able to work with our HR department and be able to get that pay increase for you because we know how valuable that is. We at the Career Center want to make sure you're getting as much as you can get for your time because time is valuable. And yeah, we're excited about it. So you'll get $13.75 an hour for up to 100 hours at this internship. The summer internship is also very unique because it covers tuition for one summer class up to 4 credit hours. So typically classes are 3 credit hours, but some of them are 4 credit hours. So this is really exciting because, you can knock out that 4 credit hour class and have it paid for if you have one in your lineup there in your curriculum. And then just, you know, a- so supplemental fees are the responsibility of the student. Classes or sometimes payment plans have different supplemental fees that, either way, you're going to be responsible for those. But yeah, just wanted to kind of add that to this piece of information. And then we also provide financial support for one book related to that class up to $125. So that book has to be directly related to that one summer class that you are taking.
Yeah. So valuable in so many different ways and very unique and different. And so that's why it's great that you're attending today for this info session, because we're going to walk you through what the process kind of looks like next, with the tools we are to help you as you prepare and really feel confident moving forward. So let's talk a little bit about who is eligible. This is broken down into a couple different categories, but really we talked about before, it's the full gamut, but there's some caveats to that. So it is going to, where there are going to be opportunities that are listed in that 175 that might require you to have some specific classes under your belt or a skill set. So what we're really going to encourage you to do is read through that job description to determine if you meet that criteria. And if you're interested in it, you are welcome to apply. And so at the time of application, there are some certain qualifiers that we just want you to be aware of. The first is you need to be enrolled at Tri-C. So you need to be a Tri-C student. The second is you need to have declared a major, which you have to do at the point of registration, but it's something that you want to make sure is up to date. If you've transitioned majors and you haven't let the enrollment office know, you want to make sure that you do that, or work with a counselor just so that it is consistent with what is on your degree audit and what is on your resume. And then plan to register for fall 2023. And so this is a really important piece. So unfortunately, if you are graduating this summer and you are not returning in the fall, then you are not eligible for this program. We really want this to be for students that are continuing on. And so just know that you have to have the intention to come back in the fall to be able to participate in the summer internship program. And then just a couple of things to keep in mind, that prior to the start date of the internship, and this is not during the application period, but you have to be 18 years or older. So for example, right now, if in the month of February and March, you are still going to be 17 years old, you can absolutely apply for the internship. But by the day you start your experience, you have to be 18 years or older. And so just keep that in mind. It's one of the qualifiers. You are actually going to become like a Tri-C employee during this time, and that is a standard practice for the institution. You, again, need to be enrolled in a summer course. So not only are we offering that as a benefit, it is a requirement for the program. So you can't participate in the summer internship program and not take a summer class. You must take a summer class while you are participating in it. And then the last piece we just want you to be aware of is, to be able to successfully take the internship, you have to complete a pre-employment background and drug screen test. So we want you to have that full experience of what it's like to become a professional, and very frequently employers require these things. You absolutely have to do those if you are an employee of Tri-C, and so you are going to get the full gamut of experience from application to interview, through going through what would be considered background check and then onboarding. So those are really important pieces. I want to pause for a second. We've shared a lot of information with you. Do you have any questions about what we've already gone through? And again, feel free to ask your question in the chat. Beth is monitoring that. Or if you want to take yourself off mute and you want to ask your question out loud, we welcome them all. So anything that we've covered so far that we can clarify for you, add more information, or answer. Take time. Not, that's okay. Probably the moment somebody asks you if you have a question, the question that you actually had, you can't remember anymore. It's okay. We're going to come back. We'll leave plenty more time. So we're going to go ahead and transition over now to talk about tools to help Beth kind of share some things with you.
Yeah, and just keep in mind too, if you have questions, you're probably not the only one with that question. So feel free to interrupt at any time or throw something in the chat and we can make sure those get answered. So I'm going to talk about a few tools to help you. And yeah, this year we put together an interactive checklist that is going to help you navigate this process. So the first checklist that we put together was for the application and interviewing process. And then once you have been accepted into an internship, there will be a checklist for how to, navigate during and then towards the end of your internship as well. We and the Career Center put together many workshops throughout the semester. We do have one virtual workshop that's a live synchronous workshop, just like this one, that could help you with this internship. So it's our LinkedIn workshop from novice to networking pro. And so one of the things that we talked about is just building that network. And so maintaining those relationships and staying in contact with those supervisors or those colleagues is really important as you're trying to enter into the work world, into your new career. And so those contacts can be really important. And LinkedIn, which is what I refer to typically as sort of like a professional Facebook page, is a really great way to maintain communication and maintain a relationship with those professionals that you meet in the field. And then we also have, oh, and so that'll be a virtual program that's February 24th at 3 p.m. And actually, Natalie will be the one um, conducting that workshop, and you can register for that through Handshake. And then we also have a number of on-demand workshops available for you.
Oops, sorry.
No, that's great. Go ahead, pop on
Okay.
over.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if you visit our Career Center page, so, even though I work here, if I'm trying to get to our Career Center page, I still just Google Tri-C Career Center, and it's literally the first thing that will pop up. But we do have that link there at the top, tric.edu/career-services. And on the sidebar, if you just click on Career Center Workshops, it'll take you to the next page. And then go ahead and click a couple times for me, Natalie. And then you just scroll down. And then down at the bottom, you can see on-demand workshops. So that resumes that get results 2.0. I always struggle with that one. That is a really great way to kind of develop that resume and get that ready to go so you can get that interview. That leveraging LinkedIn is also on there, and then there's some information about how to do well in your interview process as well.
So we know that navigating all of this in timeline, preparing is all an important part of the process. So we wanted to share with you kind of what you should have on your radar as far as when you are utilizing those resources, working on your resume. And thanks so much, Beth, for showing us that there are resources out there all of the time for you to be able to work on the resume, work on the criteria for this individually, or you can meet with coaches, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But you need to apply for these opportunities February 1st through the 28th. So it has already been open for about 16 days, the application process, and we are rounding the corner on the last 2 weeks of being able to apply. So you will need to apply by the end of the month. When you actually facilitate the internship itself, when you're going to be participating in that, it's going to be in May. And so there is a gap time in between there because a lot of things are happening. So after the application process completes, then you might be called for an interview. Our employers review all of the resumes and applications that come through. They conduct those interviews. There are verbal offers made, and then you go through that background check, drug screen process that we talked about, and some paperwork. So you can see that there's a pretty good gap in between, but a lot of things happen. And just like Beth had talked about previously, we are going to be able to share information through a checklist form to keep you on track and know what steps you're on. So right now, your next step is to apply, and you want to do that by the 28th. And so the applications this year, if you participated in a previous year, look a little bit different, but they're all through Handshake. And so you used Handshake to register for this workshop today. Here in a little bit live, we are going to go ahead and hop in and show you what the application process looks like so you feel good about that. But all of those 175 opportunities are in Handshake, and so you'll use the jobs tab to apply for those. Resume is required, so you will need that. So just as a quick preference, one of the things that we see so frequently is students get really excited about applying and they forget to even add that they are a Tri-C student under their education section. So take some time to go back and look at your resume, utilize the resources on our website. You're more than welcome to reach out to any of the coaches and we can provide those. but also just know that you are going to have to submit that. And so it's really important that it is the best reflection of your skills and capabilities. And most importantly, that you add you are a Tri-C student, because you won't qualify otherwise. Handshake is available on an app. So if you created your profile to be able to register for this event and you were doing it from a computer, we also encourage you to have the app available. It just makes everything so much more accessible. You can set up your notifications that way too. So just a little reminder for that piece of it. So Beth's going to talk a little bit about how to prepare.
Yep. So the first thing you'll want to do is create your Handshake profile. So everybody registered for this event through Handshake, like Natalie said, but how complete is your profile? One of the ways that Handshake helps you complete your profile is when you upload your resume. A lot of that information gets auto-populated, but you do need to make sure you're going through and checking for any kind of weird formatting that might happen, because, you know, computers are great, but they're not perfect, right? All right. So you want to update your resume. Schedule a one-on-one resume appointment with the Career Center on Handshake. You can just clicking on the Career Center button at the top right can take you into where you will schedule an appointment. It's really easy and intuitive. Go ahead and schedule that appointment. And the app, you just click on the hamburger and then click on Career Center. And again, it's really intuitive. It just takes you to appointments. You want to review positions in Handshake. You want to make sure if you're applying for positions, you're paying attention to where they are, because there are on-campus and off-campus positions. So if you're applying to off-campus positions, make sure you're willing to go to wherever that location is. Or if you're applying for on-campus positions, maybe you're near a couple different campuses, make sure you're paying attention to which campus each position is taking place in. Check your voicemail daily and make sure your voicemail is set up and has space for messages. So we've been hearing a lot recently about students who, you know, their voicemail is full, or you know, their voicemail is not set up, and so they weren't able to get the voicemail that somebody intended to leave them. And so instead of having to call back every one of those numbers that you don't know what it is, a really simple way is just to make sure your voicemail is set up and has space for messages, and that you're paying attention, so that you are getting the interview that you are being called about. You want to make sure you're available during that time to grab that interview time. And then, of course, apply, but make sure you're being thoughtful about where you're applying to. Make sure you're taking the time to read those position descriptions, making sure it's something that you want to do, not just kind of clicking through and applying for every single one. Because keep in mind, if you apply for 100 internships, you may be asked to interview 100 times. That's a lot.
Terrifying.
Nobody, I don't think there's anybody on the planet that wants to go through that. So just keep that in mind.
Awesome. Thanks.
And then you can click a couple times for me, Natalie.
Yeah.
And this is a big plea. If you decide that you do not want to participate in the internship, or you're not interested in the position you applied for, that is okay. But please let the employer know. If you go through the interview process and you feel like maybe this isn't the right fit for me, maybe I'm not feeling this position the way that I was, again, that is okay. It happens to all of us. Part of being a professional is just politely responding over email or giving them a call to let them know I am no longer interested in this position. And again, that's totally fine. It's just not professional to leave people hanging. Tri-C works really hard to build these really great relationships with these employers. Our employer relations team works hard to make sure employers are getting the students that they need. So the last thing we want is for an employer to say, you know what, we're not interested in hiring any more Tri-C students, because, you know, those kinds of things can happen if it happens continuously. So please, if you get contacted by an employer, even if you're not interested in the position, just let them know politely. It's as simple as, thank you for the opportunity. I'm no longer interested in this position. And that's all that it takes.
That's great advice. So we're going to switch over now and do some live demos. Ooh, go ahead.
Natalie, yeah, so we have a question in the chat.
Awesome.
So the question is, does it need to do you need a cover letter to apply as well?
Oh, excellent question. So you will not need a cover letter. That is our gift to you for this because cover letters, if you've never written one before, every single one should be tailored for the position that you apply to. We are encouraging you to apply to whichever ones really fit your interest area. And so we know that would be extremely time consuming. Career Center can always help you write a cover letter for other opportunities that might require them, but summer internship programs do not require cover letters. It's just going to be the resume. So you are welcome. Great question. Any other questions? And I was going to pause now too before we hop into some live demos about different ways to interact and prepare and apply. So other questions that you might have that I could help answer.
You mind if I just add on one thing about the cover letter, Natalie?
Please do. Absolutely.
If you're kind of scrolling through some of these positions and you are like, oh my gosh, this position is exactly what I want. This is the exact internship position that I want. I'm really excited about this. A good way to kind of get ahead maybe is to write a thoughtful cover letter about that position specifically. And so you do not need a cover letter to apply for any of these positions. But if you're scrolling through and you see a position that makes you really excited, a good cover letter could help you get that, be that extra piece to help you get that interview to be able to, hopefully land that position.
Yeah, that's a great point. And when Beth says good cover letter, it needs to be just for that position. So an
Yes.
employer, a recruiter can know right away if this is a cover letter that you use to apply for lots of different jobs. So that's when we talk about tailoring. Good cover letters can really help you. A bad cover letter can hurt. So take that, keep that in mind, grammatical correction, that it is really thoughtful, just like Beth said, and why you're interested in that opportunity, but it could set you ahead of the game. Awesome advice. Other questions? Anything else that we can answer for you? That's a great question. We actually haven't had that yet, so thanks for asking that. It's okay if not. Okay, we'll keep using that chat. Feel free to stop and interrupt us. That's fine too. We're gonna do some live demos now. So we've kind of gone through some presentation parts, but now it's like, what are my next steps? How do I see this information? How do I interact? So the first thing I wanted to share with you is our website for Summer Internship Program. So it has a lot of the information that we covered today to be able to go back and reference at your convenience. Just like Beth said, I honestly do the same thing as she does. And if I am looking for something, if I just want the regular Career Center page for Tri-C, I Google search Tri-C Career Center and it brings you to our main page. If you're looking for summer internship program information for Tri-C, you can just Google summer internship program Tri-C. It's going to bring you right here. And so it goes back through kind of those deadlines, what the benefits are, the eligibility criteria that we discussed. There is a helpful video to go back and reference about how to apply for these opportunities. And we will do a live demo of Handshake next. So I just wanted to show you those. There is a how to prepare section. And so as we referenced earlier in the presentation, there is a checklist that you are able to access that walks you through the dates, what things you should be keeping in mind from now until February 28th. And you can access that here by clicking on it and then you can download it. On the right-hand side, you are able to interact with a few things. So it's going to give you those resume tools that we talked about. It's going to be able to direct you back to those on-demand videos as well as templates and checklists to help you review your resume and make sure that it is competitive with all the other Tri-C students that are applying. Give some helpful interview tips and then professional dress as well. So if you've never had a professional interview before, your employers might be asking you to interview in person for the positions. They might be doing a phone interview. They might be doing a virtual interview. It's really at their discretion. So you want to keep in mind, what does that look like? What are some best practices for that? So all of that is available to you on our summer internship page. So we're going to transition over into Handshake. And so Handshake is exactly how you came and registered for the event that we're having today with this workshop, but it's also how you're going to apply for these internships. So when you go into Handshake, if you are using the app, it's going to look different. This is going to be if you log in from a computer, so you'll have to navigate a little bit differently. But as Beth mentioned, very intuitive in the Handshake app. It's going to walk you right through it and give you the same types of options. This is your Handshake main page. And so no matter where you are in the Handshake platform, up at the top, you kind of have these navigation tabs that you can interact with. So when you are looking for an opportunity for the summer internship program, you're going to come over here and you can start with this jobs tab. And so as you click jobs, there are lots of different ways that you can look for opportunities at any point, whether it's summer internship or not. This is our platform where any employer that is interacting with Tri-C and they want to hire a Tri-C student, we have them create a Handshake account. They post their positions here. And so this is your kind of one-stop shop for those employers that are like, we really want to hire you. And so we want you to have that experience going through Handshake for summer internship program as well. So there are options to filter, but for summer internship, you're going to come up to the search bar. You're going to type in SIP, Summer Internship Program. That's our acronym. And then the year, 2023. So when you search that, it is going to bring up all of those opportunities within Summer Internship Program, and you are able to scroll through those. So with each one, as you click on it, it brings up more information about that position on the right-hand side. So it gives you kind of that in-depth snapshot. It's going to share with you what the application deadline is. All of them are February 28th, so that is one that is consistent. There is an apply button, and when you click apply, it is going to ask you to upload the resume, whether that is you can have different options of resumes loaded in Handshake, so just make sure it is the correct version. We interact with students all the time. They're like, oh, I submitted the wrong version of my resume. So just make sure you're able to name it when you upload it into Handshake. We'll talk about how to do that. And that's it. You click upload and then submit application, and that's the whole process for the application. So very simple. As you scroll down, it goes into a full role description and gives you those preferred qualifications. The other piece that we really want to highlight this semester is this career readiness competencies. So as you are developing these skills, whether it is through your class or through other experiences that you have, there are employers that are really looking for those. And then also they want you to know that as you participate in this specific experience, you are going to have the opportunity to develop further career competencies. So if one of the things that you really want to work on, let's say is communication, you know, when you read through this job description that this specific one is going to give you the opportunity to really improve upon that. And so in your interview, you could go back and reference and say, in the job description, one of the things that you mentioned was have the opportunity to develop my communication skills. Could you please share a little bit about what that will look like in this opportunity? That's a great way to kind of have that conversation and get a better feel for what that will look like. It's also going to show you the modality. Is it a remote position? Is it a hybrid position where you both remote in person? Is it in person on campus? And then any specific requirements you might have. One of the things I want to point out is there's this little box that takes your Handshake profile, which we're going to look at next, and it compares it to the job description to show you how well you qualify. I'm just going to urge you, if you are really interested in the opportunity, go ahead and apply to the position. The employer should be the one that says this student is just not going to meet the qualifications of what we're looking for, but sometimes they go into this process thinking this is what they really need. And then they see your resume and they go, oh, you know what? This could be a fantastic candidate. So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you are interested in the opportunity and you think that you bring the skills that are going to be necessary and maybe they just don't see that, go ahead and apply. So as you look through these opportunities, and we said there's quite a few, if there's one that is really specifically interested to you, or you want to scroll through all of them, and then you want to go back and apply at a different pace for the ones that you're interested in, you're going to notice that across from each one of the opportunities that's listed is this little flag icon. And if you click that, it saves the position for you. So you can log out of Handshake, you can do this in pieces, and then when you go back in and you come to the Jobs tab, right next to where you are searching for those positions, there is a saved link, and you can click save and then be able to see any of the positions that you have saved and go back and go through the application process then. So let me pause for just a second. We're going to go ahead and dive into the profile next and uploading your resume into Handshake. But I just wanted to clarify, see if there's any additional questions. And just as one more reminder, when you go into Handshake, you're going to search SIP 2023, and that's what brings you to the opportunities. So let me go ahead and pause. We said before, if you have questions, pop those in the chat or take yourself off mute. So over in the right-hand corner, there is a little bubble. If you have updated your Handshake profile with your picture, then it will be your picture. And if you haven't, it will be your initials. So most folks start out with their, I call it like mission control, looking like their initials. And when you click on that, there's all kinds of different opportunities to interact with Handshake, but we're going to look at two specifically with our time today. So the first is my profile. So one of the ways to prepare that Beth mentioned was going through and making sure that your profile is filled out. And so there are different pieces within this that you can upload, and it does, as she mentioned, talk to your resume. So if you upload a resume into Handshake and when you go in to the profile piece for the first time, it's going to say, would you like to upload a resume? If you click past that here in just a couple seconds, I'm going to show you how to do that anyway, so not to worry, but it will pull some information. You just need to go back and make sure that you verify that it's correct. And in each section, it gives you a little pencil. It allows you to edit any of those sections or add something that isn't there. So you can see it's very similar to a resume and kind of the components are. My journey might look like your professional summary or your summary of qualifications. You'll have education from your resume, work and volunteer experience, organizations and extracurriculars, courses. So if you have relevant coursework up at the top, you want to go ahead and add that. And then it allows for this really neat project section so that if there are independent projects that you've been working on, or if there are projects that you've done in your courses that you say, oh, you know what, this would be really helpful. I know I'm going to pull skills and experience from that into this opportunity, then you're able to add those there as well. One thing that we just want to encourage you to do and go back and review in your own Handshake profile is this box that says your profile is visible to employers, students, and alumni across all Handshake education institutions. It's set that way because I chose to set it that way. So your profile starts out as private, and up here you're going to click Settings to be able to change that. So this is where any of that personal information can be updated. If you have a preferred name over what it automatically loads into your Handshake account, please feel free to add that there. As you go down, you can add an additional email if you like, just for reference. But what I want you to focus on here is this privacy setting. So it's going to start as private, and then you want to make sure that you have changed it over to community members if you want everybody that interacts with the Handshake profile to be able to have access to that. You do have the option as well to just choose employers, which would mean other student users could not have your contact information through your profile to be able to interact with you. It's really your preference, but we recommend that you choose community so that you can have that access to the full scope of availability and contacts within Handshake. So going back up to this little command center bubble up here, we talked about profile and making sure that that is built out so that employers that are looking for candidates, whether that's through Summer Internship Program or beyond, are able to access your information and reach out to you. But also there's the My Documents section. And so this is where you will be able to go in and upload your resume, and then it will ask you, you can have multiple, which one would you like to have uploaded? So something I just want to highlight real quick, you're going to notice that this says visible. That means that I've chosen to allow employers to view the resume. You want to make sure that you have that set to the correct one. When you upload your resume for the first time, it actually goes through the coaching process, and we look at those and we will suggest any comments to you that we might have for revisions that you can make independently, or you can work with a coach. So make sure you're checking this notifications to see if you got a message back from us that you might need to do some tweaking on your resume ahead of time. And so that kind of concludes for the live demos. Before I hop out of Handshake, is there anything that I can go back and revisit, demo again, answer questions for you in the regard to Handshake, how you're going to go through and apply, search for jobs, and then update your professional information. So you might use this as you prepare for summer internship program, or you might use this in the future, but I just wanted to leave you with this last piece. If you have never created an appointment to work with the Career Center coaches, you can simply do that by going up to Career Center. You'll choose appointments, and then you'll schedule a new appointment. It will allow you to choose which campus you want to interact with, and we serve virtually across all campuses. If you want to go physically to a specific location, then you're welcome to choose that one. If you go in, and then it will ask you what type of appointment you want. These are alphabetized, so if you want to work with us for resume, that's down the bottom. And then it's going to take you through the process of being able to click on dates of availability and choose appointments. You can choose virtual or in person at your preference. So just wanted to share that as well. Okay, I'm hopping out of demos and passing it back over to Beth.
All right. If there are any questions, we're happy to answer them. I know that we've given you some space to ask those questions, mentioning to go ahead and put them in the chat if you have them, or, just come on off mute and ask them verbally. I do want to point out, since we are recording this session, F1 students with F1 visas are able to apply for on-campus positions, Tri-C on-campus positions. That's a question that we get a lot of the time. So you would go ahead and apply for those positions, and then you will work with your International Student Services person, which is on each campus, to get the work authorization to do that. So I just wanted to put that out there. Any other questions from anybody on here right now? All right. I think we're in good shape. We look forward to speaking with each of you. Come see us and get that resume in good shape, and we'll find you something. We'll find you a good internship.
So excited to work with you all. Thanks for spending this time with us. We really appreciate it. Follow up with any questions you think of afterwards. Have a great day.